Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're pulling back the curtain on something we all see constantly: how brands actually communicate value to us.
hmm
You know, those ads that just stick? Or like when a company suddenly makes you feel you absolutely need their product?
Yeah, there's definitely a method to the madness.
Exactly. There's a systematic approach behind that, and we're about to explore it. We're going to be extracting key insights from a stack of sources, looking into promotion strategy, integrated marketing communications, and the real nuts and bolts of managing mass communications like ads and sales promotions.
Right.
Think of this as your shortcut to understanding the strategic thinking and maybe sometimes the clever tricks behind the messages hitting you every day.
Yeah. And our mission for this deep dive is really to reveal that structured way companies design, deliver, and importantly, measure their messages.
Okay.
So the objective isn't just to tell you what messages you receive, but to help you understand why they're crafted and delivered in these specific, often very strategic ways.
So you can sort of see the strings.
Pretty much. You should walk away being able to look at almost any ad or promotion and recognize the underlying strategy at play.
Okay, let's unpack this foundational framework for effective communications then. It's not just like throwing marketing darts at a board, is it?
Huh, no, definitely not.
Say we're launching a new product, maybe something innovative like a sustainable plant-based cleaning solution. Where do we even begin communicating its value?
Absolutely not random. It's actually an incredibly structured sequential process. The material we looked at highlights 8 key steps companies typically follow.
8 steps, okay.
First, you identify your target audience. Who are we really trying to reach with our sustainable cleaner? Is it, environmentally conscious millennials, busy parents, someone else entirely?
Right, gotta know who you're talking to.
Then step 2, you set objectives. What do you want them to do or maybe feel after seeing your message? Buy it. Visit the website. Just feel good about the brand.
Makes sense.
Third, you design the communications themselves, actually crafting the message, the words, the visuals. Fourth, select the channels. How's this message actually going to get out there? Online, TV, in-store.
Okay.
Fifth, establish the budget. Crucial one. How much are we going to spend? Sixth, you decide on the media mix, drilling down into the specific media you'll use within those channels.
So like which specific websites or TV shows?
Exactly. Seventh, you measure the results. Did it work? How effective was it? And finally, eighth, you manage integrated marketing communications. This means making sure all these different efforts, ads, social media, PR, they all work together seamlessly.
Wow, that's thorough.
It is. And what's often overlooked is that skipping even one of these steps can kind of unravel the whole campaign. It turns that strategy back into those random acts of marketing you mentioned.
Right, which is exactly what you don't want. So what's the core purpose behind being so disciplined? What are they really trying to achieve, especially with our plant-based cleaner example?
Well, at its heart, effective communication really has 2 core goals. The first one is to build brand attitude.
Brand attitude meaning.
It means helping you, the consumer, evaluate the brand's perceived ability to meet a need you currently have.
Okay.
For our cleaner, this could be solving a problem, like getting out tough stains, right?
Right.
Or it might be addressing something more positive, like the feeling of contributing to sustainability.
Ah, okay. So solving problems or tapping into aspirations.
Precisely. It could even be avoiding a problem, like harsh chemicals, or addressing incomplete satisfaction with maybe another cleaner you tried, or even just meeting a normal need, like, you ran out of cleaner.
The basics.
Yeah, but it also extends to those more positively oriented needs, maybe sensory gratification from a nice natural scent, intellectual stimulation from learning about its eco-friendly formula, or even social approval, like feeling good using a green product.
So it's deeper than just buy my product.
Much deeper. The real aha here is recognizing that brands aren't just selling products, they're selling solutions to problems you might not even consciously recognize, or they're tapping into desires for connection or health or happiness.
Interesting. And the second goal.
The second core goal is to influence brand purchase intention, basically moving consumers to actually decide to purchase the brand, or at least take some purchase-related action.
Like clicking add to cart or finding it in the store.
Exactly. Visiting the website, looking for it on the shelf, that kind of thing.
Okay, so what I find really fascinating is how they actually craft the message itself. Once they know who they're talking to and what they want them to do, What goes into actually writing the ad or designing the visual for our cleaner?
Right, that's where message strategy and creative strategy really come into play.
Okay.
Message strategy is about choosing the appeals, themes, or ideas that tie directly back to the brand's positioning.
Positioning, like how it stacks up against competitors.
Yeah, highlighting points of parity, maybe showing our cleaner, is just as effective as the leading chemical brand or points of difference, like its unique plant-based formula or sustainable packaging. These appeals can be very product-focused, or they can be broader.
And the creative strategy.
That's how the message strategy gets translated into the actual communication, the ads you see. You generally see two main types of appeals used here.
Okay.
First, informational appeals. These elaborate on the product's attributes or benefits. Straightforward.
Like for our cleaner, showing it removes wine stains.
Exactly. Or listing its non-toxic ingredients. Think of those problem solution ads, like AT&T saying they have the biggest 4G network to solve your spotty connection problem.
Or celebrity testimonials.
Yeah, that can be informational too. Like LeBron James endorsing McDonald's, he's essentially providing information that he likes or uses the product.
Okay, so that's informational. What's the other type?
The other type is transformational appeals. These focus on non-product related benefits or images. They're designed to stir emotions.
Ah, the feelings part.
Exactly.
Mm.
For our cleaner, maybe it's an ad showing a happy, healthy family cleaning together in a bright, natural-looking home. It's emphasizing the feeling of well-being and eco-consciousness.
Like the Pringles example. Once you pop, the fun don't stop.
Perfect example. That's all about the experience, the enjoyment, not the potato chip ingredients. These messages often aim to evoke things like happiness, humor, love, pride, joy, connecting the brand to a bigger feeling.
So it's not just features, it's feelings. Does this mean informational appeals are, like, less important now?
Not necessarily less important, they just serve different purposes or sometimes work together. But the emotional connection is definitely key for many brands.
That makes sense. But then it's not just what is said, but also who says it, right? How critical is the source of the message, the person, the company, whoever, for our cleaner to gain trust?
Oh, message source credibility is hugely important for a message to be accepted. Our sources point to three key factors here.
Okay, what are they?
Expertise. Does the source have specialized knowledge? Maybe a scientist endorses our cleaner's formula. Trustworthiness. Are they objective and honest? Like an unbiased review site. And likability.
Oh, likability. How so?
Just how attractive or candid or even humorous the source is. Maybe a relatable environmental blogger uses our cleaner.
Interesting.
What's really fascinating, though, is that people paid to endorse something are often seen as less trustworthy than someone perceived as objective.
Right, you always wonder if they really use it.
Exactly. And think about when a celebrity endorser gets into trouble. That negative association can actually hurt the brand they promote. There was that Osgood and Tannenbaum study mentioned, looking at how a celebrity's negative image can really drag down the brand attitude.
Like the Tiger Woods situation years ago.
That's a classic example.
Yeah.
So congruity, a good fit between the communicator and the brand, is vital. You need to avoid those negative feelings bleeding over.
So for our cleaner, maybe a famous chef wouldn't be the best fit, but an eco-conscious influencer could be perfect.
Precisely. The fit matters a lot.
Okay, so once these messages are so carefully crafted and the right source is chosen, how do they actually reach us? What are the channels and media they're using to get our new cleaner out there?
Right, delivery. Messages reach us through two main types of communication channels. First, you've got personal communications channels.
Like one-on-one.
Yeah, direct communication between two or more people. Face-to-face, phone calls,
Yeah.
good old surface mail, email.
Okay.
And these can be broken down further. There are advocate channels. Think of our cleaner's own salespeople demonstrating it in a store. Then expert channels, independent experts, maybe environmental scientists or those product reviewers we mentioned, and social channels.
Friends and family.
Exactly. Neighbors, friends, family members. And the influence of word of mouth in these social channels is just immense. A glowing recommendation from a friend about our cleaner, super powerful.
You trust your friends, usually.
Right. Then the second main type is non-personal communications channels, often just called mass communications.
So talking to lots of people at once.
Yep. Directed to more than one person. This includes advertising, sales promotions, events, PR.
Events. How do they fit in?
Events can be really powerful for creating attention and building that brand image.
Yeah.
Imagine our cleaner brand sponsoring a local park cleanup day.
Ah, okay. Creates goodwill.
Definitely. The material we looked at mentioned how events can be used for these sort of deep brand dives, almost like playing tricks to build a brand by creating immersive experiences and positive associations.
That makes sense.
And, if we connect this to the bigger picture, using an integrated approach is almost always more effective than just relying on mass communication alone.
So mixing personal and non-personal.
Yes. And this brings up the concept of the two-step flow of influence.
Two-step flow.
Yeah, the idea is that messages from mass media don't always hit everyone directly. Instead, they often flow first to opinion leaders.
Influencers, basically.
Kind of, yeah. Opinion leaders, sometimes called opinion shapers, they filter and then transmit those messages to others in their circle. It creates this sort of trickle-down or trickle effect.
Interesting. That makes perfect sense for a big established brand. But what about a smaller startup, like our plant-based cleaner company? Maybe they don't have the budget for massive TV campaigns. Does that two-step flow still work, or are they finding other ways to connect?
That's a great question and probably very relevant for our hypothetical startup. They might lean more heavily on social channels, expert channels, maybe very targeted digital advertising to reach those opinion leaders directly and efficiently.
Okay. Now let's maybe narrow our focus onto advertising specifically. It's such a huge chunk of mass communications. How do companies approach that strategically, especially for a new product like ours?
Right, advertising.
Yeah.
It's generally seen as a really cost-effective way to get messages out widely, build that brand preference we talked about, and educate people. Companies usually make 5 major decisions here, often called the 5 M's of advertising.
The 5 M's. Okay. Sounds like a framework.
It is. The first M is mission. What are the advertising objectives? Are we aiming for specific sales goals, or are we focused on communication objectives?
Like for our cleaner, maybe just making people aware it exists?
Exactly. That would be an informative objective, build awareness, build knowledge about this new plant-based option. Objectives can also be persuasive, trying to create liking, preference, conviction, and ultimately purchase. Or reminder advertising prompting repeat buys from early adopters. Or even reinforcement, making current buyers feel good about their choice.
Got it. Mission first. What's the second M?
Second M is money, the budget. How much are we going to spend?
Always the big question.
Always. And several things influence this. The product stage in its life cycle. The new products like our cleaner usually need bigger budgets to cut through the noise.
Makes sense. What else?
Market share and consumer base matter. High-share brands might actually spend less as a percentage of sales, while building share costs more. Competition and clutter are huge factors in a crowded cleaner aisle. We'd need to spend more. Also, the advertising frequency needed, how many times people need to see the ad.
And product substitutability.
If your product is very similar to competitors, like lots of sodas, you often need more advertising to create a distinct image than if you have a truly unique product.
Okay, mission, money. What's third?
Third M is message. What message should actually be sent? This covers generating ideas, evaluating them, selecting the best one, and also doing a social responsibility review.
Making sure it's truthful and ethical.
Exactly. Creative development and execution fall here too. Messages can range from super simple, just say it, to really complex demonstrations appealing to different senses. Think about how Apple often uses very clean, simple, but powerful messages.
Okay. Fourth M.
Fourth M is media. What media should we use to deliver that message? This involves thinking about reach.
How many people see it at least once?
Right. And frequency, F.
How many times they see it?
Yeah. And impact.
Impact.
What's that? That's the qualitative value of an exposure through a given medium. So like an ad for gourmet food in Bon Appetit magazine probably has a higher impact for that specific audience than the same ad maybe in a general newspaper like USA Today.
Ah, the context matters.
Context matters a lot. This M also covers choosing major media types, TV, radio, digital, print, outdoor-specific vehicles within those types, media timing, and geographical allocation.
This raises an important question. How do they decide when to actually run the ads?
Great point. That falls under media timing and allocation. There's macro scheduling, which looks at the big picture like seasonality or the business cycle. Maybe we push our cleaner hardest during spring cleaning season.
Makes sense.
Then there's micro scheduling, which is about allocating the ad spend within shorter periods like weekly or monthly. And there are different patterns here. Yeah, like continuity running ads steadily throughout the period, concentration spending it all in one go, maybe for a launch, pulsing, which is continuous advertising but with heavier bursts periodically, and flighting advertising in bursts, then having periods of no advertising at all.
Wow, lots of options there. You mentioned media types. Our sources probably detailed the pros and
Oh
cons.
yeah, absolutely. Newspapers offer flexibility and local reach but have a short lifespan. Direct mail is highly selective but can be seen as junk. Radio is great locally but audio only. Magazines offer high demographic selectivity and credibility, great for niche products like maybe ours, but have long ad purchase lead times. Outdoors, high exposure but limited audience selectivity. Each channel has its strengths and weaknesses, its strategic fit. What's truly fascinating is how that impact factor can sometimes be more important than just raw reach.
Right, that Bon Appetit example. Context is king,
Sometimes, yes. Okay, so that brings us to the fifth and final M,
which is
measurement. How should the campaign be evaluated? Did it actually work?
the moment of truth.
Pretty much. This involves looking at communication impact. Do people recall seeing the ad for our cleaner? Do they recognize it? You use things like recall tests or recognition tests.
Okay.
And then there's sales impact. Did the ads actually lead to more sales? This is harder to measure definitively because so many factors affect sales, but you can use historical data analysis or controlled experiments.
Like that P&G Olympics sponsorship example, they must have tracked that closely.
Oh, absolutely. With a $100 million investment like Procter & Gamble made, you can bet they were meticulously tracking the impact on revenue for brands like Tide and Pampers.
That's a really solid framework, the 5 Miss. But, with all this advertising bombarding us, what about the legal and social side? Are there rules of the road?
Definitely. Advertising is heavily regulated. You can't just say anything. There are rules against false claims, outright deception, promoting illegal stuff, or content deemed immoral.
So checks and balances.
Yes, it's a constant process. Our sources mentioned an example, I think it's called off-air battles, about disputes over advertising claims for sugar substitutes. Companies and regulators really fought over the wording to ensure messages were truthful and didn't mislead consumers. It's not just about what you can say, but what you should say ethically and what the law allows.
Okay, so advertising seems focused on that longer-term brand building, the mission part. But what about when a brand needs a quick boost, a fast result? That's where sales promotions fit in, right?
That's precisely the role of sales promotion. It's defined basically as a collection of short-term incentive tools, things designed to stimulate a quicker or greater purchase of products or services.
So like coupons, contests, buy one, get one.
Exactly. Those are all sales promotions. They provide a distinct reason to buy right now. For our cleaner, it could be that buy one, get one free offer or a temporary price reduction.
And how does that differ from advertising fundamentally?
The key contrast is purpose and time frame. Advertising, as we said, primarily builds that long-term brand attitude. It's often described as franchise building. Sales promotion, on the other hand, is laser-focused on driving immediate sales. It's the tactical nudge,
The quick win.
the quick win. The challenge for brands, though, is using these promotions effectively without accidentally damaging the long-term brand value they've built through advertising. You don't want people only buying when there's a deal. It's a real balancing act.
So we've really covered a lot today. We've explored the whole strategic process of marketing communications, haven't we?
We have.
From that initial 8-step blueprint to crafting compelling messages, using different appeals, selecting the right channels, diving deep into advertising with the 5 Ms, and then understanding how sales promotions provide that immediate kick. We even used our hypothetical plant-based cleaner to sort of walk through it all.
Yeah, and hopefully understanding these underlying strategies helps you, the listener, become a much more informed consumer. Well, you can now look more critically at all the communications you encounter every day. You can start to recognize the intent behind the message, the method being used, whether it's a subtle ad trying to build brand feeling or a very direct promotion yelling, "Buy now."
Seeing the mechanics behind the curtain.
Exactly. You'll start to see the strategic chess moves behind the commercials, the social media posts, the special offers, everything.
So here's something for you to think about. How might understanding these 5 Ms of advertising, or knowing the difference between informational and transformational appeals, actually change how you perceive the products and services marketed to you every single day? What communication strategies do you personally think are most effective in influencing behavior, and why?